Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Brony Debates Live. I hope you're all doing well out there on this lovely Saturday evening. This should be a pretty short debate, because I am coming in as the king of all debates to lay a new universal debate rule. And the rule goes like this. You must ask your opponent if he owns any Funko Pops. And if the answer is a number above 0, he automatically loses on principle of owning Funko Pops. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Have a wonderful night. What do you gentlemen think about that? Tonight I got with me to, witness this royal decree. Cruizer, EmeraldSpencer, who's just joining us on here for the first time, but you probably see him a lot on the game nights and Heather's streams, and Racer7. Again, how are you gentlemen doing?
Doing all right. Just got some
I'm
work
doing
done.
good.
Yeah, same here. I'm doing good as well.
You all sound so lethargic. Cruizer, what did you say you were up to?
I just got some work done around the house.
Ah, nice. What'd you do?
We actually cleared out my dad's duplex.
All right, that sounds like a good day's work. So then, are there any objections to my royal decree? And by the way, I should mention that I do technically have authority to make royal decrees as a prince consort, especially since Trent Jerome is in the chat saying Princess Heather Blossom is a real princess. So yeah, that's how that works. Now, is there any knaves out there that disagree with my assessment?
I am going to disagree with your assessment. One, on account of being an alicorn myself, so my royalty trumps yours. Secondly, because while I do own 3 Funko Pops, none of them were purchased on my own accord. All of them were gifts from family.
Overruled. First of all, your avatar as depicted, Emerald, on the screen right now does not have wings. Therefore, you are not an alicorn. Therefore, you are not an alicorn at the moment. Secondly, because you are an alicorn OC, you are automatically cringe, and therefore your opinions are invalidated. Anybody else? How about you, Racer? What do you think?
I mean, just to reiterate what Spencer said, like, if you have a lighter, you can just destroy them.
A lighter? Really? Is that all it takes?
Yeah, of course, and some, like, gasoline, but that's optional. If
Well,
you have,
I
like,
mean, you can
They are
destroy a
plastic,
lot
and
of
just melt
things with
them.
lighter if you add gasoline to it, but lighters themselves tend to have pretty weak flames.
I mean, they are plastic, you can just melt them very slowly. You can watch them.
I don't know, Cruiser. What do you think about What do you think about all this, Cruiser?
The original MLP Funko vinyls were way better.
Though you're talking about like the ones that actually have like 4 legs and they look like
the show. Yes.
The show. Yeah. Yeah, no, those are, those can make halfway decent decorations. So let me give a little bit of background on this.
I think the original MLP Funko vinyl was what started this whole thing.
Yeah, that's right. Because okay, so DJ Skywalker wasn't able to make it tonight, but let me give you guys some background on this conversation here. So a couple of days ago, we're hanging out in the atrium, and for those who don't know, there's my Discord server that you can join by joining the Patreon, of which I have not done the readout yet, 4 minutes in. So that's a lovely start to the stream there, just totally shirking my responsibilities. But anyway, you can come and join there and see these crazy conversations we have. And DJ Skywalker had posted that he had bought one of the Funko figures, and I forget which one he bought, and then I believe Racer here said something to the effect of saying it was stupid. Consumer's garbage. Stupid that he was collecting that kind of thing, and they had a little bit of a spat about it. Racer, why don't you give us the story of that conversation from your perspective?
Oh yes, I got his. So firstly, I said someone was posting Daring Do vinyl.
Yes, that's right. It was Daring
Yeah.
Do Dazzle, which I didn't know she had the third D on her name there. The Dazzle. That was news to
It's
me.
only for merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so Daring Do is a triple D?
Yeah. Alrighty then. So then what happened, Racer?
Yeah, then DJ Skywalker said that apparently that's not a Funko Pop, even though it was, and he even admitted it one sentence later. He's saying they're still made by Pop. They're not any different. They're just
Well,
So I can clarify that actually.
Yeah.
So it's still made by Funko. However, the Pop series is a specific line that has a very specific art style to it.
That's crazy.
Well, no, but, I mean, things like that happen all the time. Where, you know,
yeah,
it has a
it's like having
7 different brands of chocolate, but they're all Nestle.
Wait, what'd you say, Emerald?
I was gonna say it's kind of like how you can have Oreo and all of its flavor iterations, and then Golden Oreo and all of its flavor iterations. While they're all Oreo, saying that the mint Oreo is a Golden Oreo is incorrect because it's not part of the Golden Oreo lineup.
It's because there's so much hate for Funko Pops that they're saying, oh, for this My Little Pony one, let's just call them vinyl collectibles. It'll seem like this huge, not huge, tiny, obscure, like, fan creation, even though it's not. It's this huge corporation.
Yeah, so I'm generally in agreement with you that and now I don't mind like the nice ones, the ones that look like the actual ponies. I think those can make halfway decent decorations, especially out of their packaging.
Especially when they're signed.
Yeah, and Cruiser's got a lot of that kind of thing. We brought Cruiser on because he's a bit of a collector, and might have, you know, some valuable input on this sort of thing. But generally, like the Funko Pop itself, yeah, I know it's really bad plastic, really low quality. They look ugly as sin. And I have no idea why people like them. And yes, I do, to a certain degree, think less of people who like them, because everybody I know who really likes them has not been quite all there or functional as an adult.
They're basically bobbleheads.
Jeez, I can't believe you think that of Heather.
Heather's like not quite there. You know, like she might get one as like a specific, like she's got two, and none of them were like, she didn't buy either of them. They were gifts. But yeah, what Cruiser said, they're bobbleheads that don't bobble, and bobbleheads all like I never understood that.
One that does bobble.
Alrighty then. I don't see how that's relevant, but okay. So yeah,
well, you said bobbleheads that don't bobble. I have one that bobbles. Well,
congratulations. The exception does not prove the rule. Does not disprove the rule.
But it is not irrelevant.
I suppose so. Okay, you're just on the other end of a bell curve. Okay, it doesn't mean anything to my point.
I've got two things to say. Firstly, still haven't done the Patreon readout. And secondly, on the chat, Mr. C. Vixen said, good news for anyone wanting an OG Funko Pop MLP figure. They're not that expensive. Then I go on Amazon, and there's a derpy one for £82, which is like $100 American. And the Rainbow Dash one for also over 100.
Are they in the box?
Horrifying. And this, they're all in box. And this horrifying Spike one for £70.
Yeah, if they're in box, that would do.
Yeah, to be fair, $100 isn't that expensive for a Funko. I was actually was watching a past debate about collectibles, and they were talking about them that were going for like $200 or $300 each.
Yeah, sometimes you get into the thousands, and apparently there's like fakes out there and counterfeits that you got to watch out for. Now that just freaking blew my mind. That anybody would care that much to that there's enough of a market for Funko that there's also a counterfeit Funko market. But yeah, so Vulpecula, Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do the readout. Okay, so we'd love to have you on the show. Join the give me money. Links in the description. I love everybody who gives me money, especially at least $10 a month. Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministry, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, EmeraldSpencer, who's with us, Senko, DJ Skywalker, Rein-Kun, Pony Cordero, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden, MacManx, EasyModeGamer, Kanto Acrylic VA, Mr. Sonic 31, Ridge the Hedgehog, Alicia Lynette, Zeta Z, Sniper Niter, Calbeck, StarChaser, Vulture Corp, and Dark Malcontent author of the Metaverse series. Check out all their stuff in the description. I am an absolute freaking scuzzbag tonight, if I'm being totally real. Like I know I lack no self-awareness, unfortunately. Now then, so where we leave off here. So and that sort of from there, it sort of devolved into whether or not figures in general, like collecting, was a valid hobby, and whether or not figures qualified as art. Now, Racer, give us some your thoughts on those two questions.
Firstly, I forgot the second question. Secondly, it's not about figures in general. It's about you see, with like regular anime figures, they're like accurate to the show or movie that they're from. With Funko Pops, they're licensing hundreds, thousands of TV shows, popular things, and then putting them on this basic, like, really shit, like, base, with no mouth, barely any facial features whatsoever, and then like corporately putting some paint on there and then selling it for £18. I just don't see how that's good.
Yep. And okay, so the first two, so is collecting a valid hobby, and is figures in general, like as a concept, does that count as art? Those were the two questions.
So yeah, I do collect things, and yeah, collecting is valid. I collect music and I collect old games.
Well,
So,
what
yeah,
do you
I
mean?
collect.
Define valid.
Worthwhile. It's kind of hard. I'll admit it's kind of hard to define valid in this context. Because shoot, how do you
Valid
define
as
valid as a hobby? I mean, because well, you get people like when we had that conversation with that one gentleman, and he was talking about the state of his house and how much stuff he's got in there from all of his years of collecting, and it sounded more like a hoarder type of situation to me. So I certainly don't understand collecting as a hobby, mostly because I'm kind of a spiritual person, and that's rooted in materialism as the basis of its concept. So it does not compute with me.
Okay. Well,
And now
if
let me just add one more thing with Racers. He says he collects games and he collects music. Now, those are both art forms that can very easily be appreciated and occupy your time with. With collecting things like figurines, maybe it's decoration, maybe it's art, but for the or maybe you're supporting the art of the show that you like, but other than that, you don't really do anything with it. It just sort of sits there. Now, Cruiser, what were you gonna say before I cut you off?
I think when you say valid, for me at least, it sounds like, can you make money at this? And I would say, depending on what you're collecting, toys, definitely collector's piece. I would say you would definitely have to make more than what you put into it. For example, like I definitely have had, MLP Funko vinyls that I have had signed and sold. Sometimes I make my money back. Sometimes you don't, and you have to cut your losses. It's basically a gamble. Toys, especially toys in general, stuff that hasn't been opened, yeah, you can definitely make a good buck off them. Opened, that's where it starts to diminish its value. some people say, take them out of the box. They're toys meant to be played with. Which, to an extent, yeah, they're right. However, it pays to preserve history. In this case, even pop history. So, yes, I'd say it's definitely viable. To give an example of a hobby that is not viable, one thing that I used to collect when I was much younger was promo sampler CDs that get handed out at concerts and festivals. This is all pretty much useless now because everything is, digital. However, I still held on to mine because, yeah, they're not worth anything, but they were, in my opinion, the unsung heroes of the concert scene. That's how you found out about new music. So collecting that, I'd say, is not viable. Collecting toys, I'd say is.
So what I think about what's valid is usually valid means that it serves a purpose. But because like music and games, but this is art. So what I think is valid in art is, does it look good? And I collect some figures. I have this Polish king figure that I got in Poland like 4 years ago, and it looks really good. But Funko Pops, they're corporate. They're all pretty much exactly the same. They all have to fit into this very crude filler, so they can cheaply make them. And if they're not good, then what's really the point of them in an art sense? So that's why I think that they're not valid when other pieces of art, like other figures, are. Because they're made to look good, while Funko Pops are made to be cheap and collectible. Things that are good are collectible, like games. Games were never made to be collectible. Music was never made to be collectible. CDs and other things, and those sampler CDs, they were never made to be collectible. Maybe they are now. That's because they were good.
So
baseball cards, they were made to be collectible. They were made to be collectible, and now no one does them anymore because once that appeal goes away, they're just completely useless. Funko Pops are made to be collectible.
There's still a market
and they're gonna go in a few years.
There's still a market for baseball cards and sports cards and trading cards like that.
That's because
especially
you're
if
old.
Well, no, there's still a modern market and kids and teens they're out there. It's certainly less than what it used to be, but it does exist.
Yeah, it's like 500 times less than it used to be. Like, cause everything will have like a market on the internet, and in like real life.
Not even the internet. I have yet to be in a town where I haven't seen at least one baseball card store.
Yeah, like people make it. There's one in every mall down here in Orlando, but for the most part, I don't understand the appeal there. It seems like it like documents the history of the players and the teams and things like that. But regardless of that, it sounds like you and me, Racer, are pretty much on the same page of like not really liking the corporatist culture that sort of goes into producing these kinds of things.
Yeah. I think someone said it. It's like the kind of art that they use, like conveyor belt art. Someone else said about the way, assembly line art.
Yeah.
That's what.
There was one thing that like a long time ago, DWK on his Absolute Unit channel, which, I should probably just call him Absolute Unit at this point, but he did a video about how bad Funko Pops are, and he broke them down of like, yeah, you've seen it, but, maybe these guys haven't, and I'll link to it in the description later on here once I find it again. But he was basically, he broke it down saying, okay, if you're going to collect figures, there's different types out there, and you might get one that's like accurate and it can serve as a nice display piece, a decoration. There's ones out there that where you can where they're actual like action figures. They can be posed. You can change the hands, the feet, the face, the dress, things like that, and vary up. You've got one figure here, but now you've got like 38 different combinations of display pieces, or you can put your own cases together and things like that. So, you know, you can make an actual hobby out of that thing. They make them out of like certain types of plastic that are meant to be durable. They with Funkos, they don't make them out of good plastic. The plastic they make them in is actually really bad for the environment. It's really cheap, really breakable. It doesn't have any distinct art style. It's just meant to be Funko, right? And you know, so it basically has none of the appeal of any thing else, even within its own. So it's bad art even within its own field, kind of thing. And there was another post I saw. I'm going to steal the joke here. A long time ago, it was on Twitter, and it went something to the effect of, you know, that somebody posted 2 walls of figurines together, and one was like all anime, and it was anime and games and Gundam and things like that, and all these models, just a huge shelf full of this stuff. There's probably $10,000 or more sitting on both of these shelves. The other one was all Funko Pops. Said, I don't see the difference. Somebody in the comments went, you know, if somebody collects a lot of anime figures, I assume that they watch a lot of anime. But Funko Pops are meant to just be about the brand Funko. So if somebody collects a lot of Funko Pops, I assume their wife sleeps with somebody else. So there's
not wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
and for the most part, yeah, people I've met who have a lot of Funko Pops have not been entirely functional adults.
Because it's their entire personality.
Right. When you make one thing your entire personality, especially if it's like corporate like that, or consumerist or materialist like that, yeah, horrible person. I want to avoid associating with you. I'm going to shift gears here slightly, because before the stream, EmeraldSpencer was telling me that, it was telling all of us really, that he sort of sits in the middle of both of these, of both sides of this debate here, and that he has some opinions that are going to particularly piss me off. So, Emerald, I want to hear what you have to say. Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, so first off, I want to address that I've heard multiple times in this debate that somehow it's a knock against Funko that they all have a very similar art style to them, which I have to disagree. Having a unifying art style isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's part of the reason why Funkos can be as collectible as they are, because if you get a whole bunch of anime figures from a whole bunch of different anime and a whole bunch of different manufacturers, they're going to clash when they're next to each other. But with Funko, you could have Ruby, Dragon Ball, My Little Pony, Doctor Who, Rick and Morty, all of those on the same shelf, and they're all going to look fine next to each other because of that unifying art style. Now, whether or not that's a good art style, that is an entirely separate thing. I don't have any particular problems with it, so I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
The answer is no. They are objectively bad. And everybody with 2 brain cells agrees. But anyway, continue your point.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cute. But anyway, one thing, though, about the thing about it being, I don't know if it's come up in this debate yet, but I know it came up in the initial conversation about it being a waste of plastic to manufacture these things.
That's a later point. We're going to talk about, like,
okay,
waste.
Then I'll save my thoughts for later. Forgive my fleeting train of thought. What was the initial question you asked me during this, Brony?
So I want to know your thoughts, because you said you had thoughts. You sat in the middle of this thing, and that you had very controversial thoughts, especially some directed at me. So yeah, I want to hear.
Well, the problem is
thoughts.
that now that I know that we're saving the waste of plastic part for later on, almost all of my thoughts relate to the idea of Funko being a waste of plastic.
Okay.
So.
Well, then we have no reason that we can't just pivot into that right now. Racer, tell me why it's a waste of plastic, and then we'll continue with what Emerald was saying.
Yeah, because you see, like you said before, there's videos on Twitter and things of people taking up 2 full shelves, 2 full sides of their room, full of plastic. That's like 3 dinosaurs worth of plastic.
Well,
just lying on the wall there for no reason.
Well, here's the thing. They're made out of oil. Oil is not actual. Like, I don't know why we call it a fossil fuel. It's not made out of actual fossils. It's basically liquid rock. There's layers and wells of it in the crust of the earth as a result of the earth being the earth. So it's only a fossil in the technical sense that fossils are also rocks. But go ahead.
I believe I'm gonna cut in on the oil thing. I believe I read somewhere that it was marketed at one point as a fossil fuel to bring up the idea that if it was made from fossils, then it's going to create a sense of scarcity and drive up the value.
I wouldn't doubt that for one single second. We did the same exact thing with diamonds, but yeah. Anyway, so Racer, where you lots of plastic on the shelves. Then what?
Then like you just never use it because like games are also made of plastic. Music, like records and CDs, are also made of plastic, but you use them. They're meant to last a long time. These Funko Pops, I imagine, they don't last very long because they're made as cheaply as possible. So then you just throwing them away, and then buying new ones again with 2 more shelves of them, with more plastic, and then driving up the value. More plastic, more trucks. They're going to stores, and yeah, just essentially that.
So you just don't like the consumeristic aspects of it, and you're a very pragmatic person. Everything you do has to have some sort of use, and everything you own has to have some sort of use and purpose. And I totally understand that.
It's
okay,
not
so
that.
what is it
if
then?
it doesn't have a purpose, it needs to look nice.
And then it doesn't look nice. So yeah, it doesn't
Then
even
it
serve
doesn't
its
look
own
nice.
purpose.
Then what is the point if it's not useful or it doesn't
Yeah.
look nice? It's not like they have sentimental value because it's just you buy them in a shop. They're just cheap. Like everyone who owns a Funko Pop, my brother owns a Funko Pop also. They all got them as gifts. They're just a cheap, easy way to get gifts. There's no value to them. They're not.
I would
like
say though
regular
that by
figures.
itself creates sentimental value.
I would agree with that. Yeah, because like I don't own any Funko Pops, but I've got it. Actually, I have one, and the story behind that was I was helping Pony Cordero move, and he had a box of stuff he was getting rid of, and I was like, hey, you got some ponies in here. You mind if I fish those out and put them on my shelf? He goes, yeah, go for it. And one of them was like a tiny, one of the small, I'm looking at it now. It's a small, black Applejack. One of the, not the Funko one, but the one that looks like an actual, what is the name for that, for the differentiation here? Like, how do I verbally differentiate the ones that are ugly versus the ones that look like they actually came out of the show?
Funko minis.
The ones that look ugly are the Pop series. The rest of them are just Funko figurines.
Okay, so yeah, it's a miniature Funko figurine, the black edition specifically. And yeah, I got a couple so that's got memories to it. I've got the Magic the Gathering pony cards that came out a while ago. That was a Christmas gift from Heather. I have 2 stuffed piranha plants on my shelf here, and those have a freaking story behind them as well. So yeah, there's I've got I've got 3 small shelves in my office with things that I display, but they all have stories behind them, even if they don't really have a use. My walls are covered in art that all have stories behind them. Like right here to my left, I've got a signed Jason picture that Cruizer gave me. It's like, hi, where the guy that played Jason in the first movie wrote, "Hey Brony, I heard you can't swim. Here's a picture of me dragging you under the water," right? And it's just kind of. So there, I got things like that. I've got a signed Jim Miller Everfree Northwest poster. So when you get into sentimental value, you can get situations like that where everything has a purpose because of the story it's told. But if you're the type of person that goes out and buys Funko Pops, there's a good chance I'm going to think less of you.
And not to mention too, like they make Funko Pops of stuff that there really is no fandom of. Like you might find like one or two like freaks that are into it, but the rest are like, why? Like there's a Funko Pop vinyl of the mariachi on the bottle of hot sauce. That guy, yeah, there's a Funko Pop of him. There's a Funko Pop of a White Castle burger. They don't even have a mascot. There's one. I think there's one of a Hershey Kiss. Like, guys, no one is buying this. If anything, they're buying it for target practice.
They're buying it because, well, no, that's the thing. They're buying it because they're a subhuman fan of Funko.
Or maybe someone's putting together a candy basket or something, and they're gonna adorn it with Hershey's Kisses. Like, hey, let's have one big Hershey's Kiss right on top that they can keep forever.
So it's a joke gift. It's a novelty. Don't buy it.
Yeah.
That seems to be the consensus, even in the chat. They're just cheap novelties. Which I mean,
also about the sentimental value. Also
Right,
about the sentimental value. You can't really debate You can't really debate subjective value. You can't debate subjective anything.
It sounded like Cruizer was trying to say something. What's up?
Yeah.
I have only one Funko Pop vinyl in my collection, and it is of Miss Chalice from Cuphead, signed by her voice actress, Gray Delise Griffin. And I'm actually trying to sell it because she was a bitch to me on Twitter.
Man, what'd she do to you on Twitter?
She didn't like the fact that I am pro-life.
Oh, isn't that always what it is? Gosh freaking darn it. Oh, didn't we just, like, the last debate was about that very type of thing? Just freaking leave people alone.
And so, yeah, she even blocked me. So now I just look like, great, now I gotta sell this thing.
Yeah, now I have this tainted memory.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, that's rough. So, yeah, waste of plastic. If nothing else, if nothing else, even if plastic isn't made from dinosaurs, I'm sure the plastic could have been put to something a little bit more useful. Now then, Emerald, what is your point regarding the plastic usage? Like, because everything was hinging on that. You couldn't go further until we addressed that part of the issue. So what are you saying?
Well, the thing with a waste of plastic argument is that you can start to boil that down to what isn't a waste of a given material. Because everything is useful to somebody as well as useless to somebody. Like, we're all here saying, yeah, why would you own Funko Pops? But maybe they just needed some basic decorations for something. And hey, Funko Pop is something pretty accessible. They don't find the art style too offensive, and nothing else seems to be working, so there you go.
Maybe you can get, like, a regular figure, something that someone took time to make, something that took inspiration. Like, I was literally just looking yesterday on Etsy, people are making My Little Pony plushies of characters that Hasbro never made them of, and they took time. People saw something and said, oh, I want to make that, I want to put time and care on that. That just doesn't happen with Funko Pops. They're just a cheap alternative.
Oh. To be fair, though, Etsy is kind of an out-of-the-way thing if you don't already know about it or know somebody who knows about it.
You get what I'm talking about. You can go to any toy shop and you'll find figures that look infinitely better than Funko Pops. For maybe they're just a little bit more expensive, but if you're buying figures, well then, price isn't really...
I don't know. I've seen a lot of franchises that the figures are hard to find, but anywhere that stocks Funko, there's a decent non-zero chance you're going to find the franchise you're looking for.
And now we have Funko knockoffs, or Funko Pop vinyl knockoffs.
That's just because of the whole scarcity and hoarding behavior and cashing in on trends and whatnot. People look at Azula figurine being like $300, and then they find a $30 term is like, I really want Azula. I don't care about that one. This one looks close enough.
Not just that, but also because the popularity of Funko Pop vinyls, I do feel like is dying. I think they've been so oversaturated, and I think people are trying to step in before they're even completely dead. Like good example. Halloween Horror Nights does their own style of Funkos. They're just meant to be, Universal Orlando exclusives, stuff that celebrate Halloween Horror Nights. I guess that's fine. At the end of the day, I guess it is harmless, but even then, it's like, why? I mean, you guys have other great things for sale of your classic monsters. The only reason I actually have one is because I got it on clearance, which tells me, yeah, people didn't really want this stuff.
It's that the people who are getting it, like, they post it on the internet because it is their personality. No one else really gets it. That's why, like, I go to, like, toy shops and then I see they have a full wall, like 2 meters, or a 2-meter wall of Funko Pops of, like, literally every fandom on the internet. On their page, they have every fandom, even fandoms that don't exist, like you said, those, like, food ones, that ketchup bottle one. And no one, apart from people who collect it or people whose personality it is, buy them, and those who do just post it on the internet. So it seems like there's more people collecting it than there actually are.
Which is why I follow the advice that I heard from YouTuber Pat the NES Punk, or Pat Contry, that's his real name. He occasionally does his own podcast called the CU Podcast, Completely Unnecessary Podcast. And he actually at one point had every single 8-bit NES Nintendo game, even the unofficial, unlicensed ones. And someone asked him, how do you feel about collecting nowadays? And he said, only collect the stuff that you want. Like, if you see a Nintendo game that you don't have, but you're not really interested in, then don't bother. Okay, just collect the games that you actually want. And that's why when I started to, get more into, the further I got into collecting, the more I kind of realized, okay, you know what? Maybe I really don't need this stuff. And when I heard that advice from him, I actually realized that's good advice. I don't need every single MLP Funko vinyl, the originals, the ones that are show accurate. I don't need every single one of them. I just like the characters that I like, and ones that I could possibly even get signed, because signed stuff as a guy who collects autographs looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. And then
Especially
you might be able to, and then you might be able to turn it around in resale.
Yeah, because I will say, when you get like a toy signed and signed with like a good paint Sharpie, it creates this pretty cool 3D effect where the signature is kind of like floating in the air, the toy's in the background, the plastic window disappears. It's a pretty cool effect. But yeah, at some point, like, I will sell this stuff. I can't take it with me to the grave. So when it does come time to sell,
clearly you're not Egyptian enough.
What's that?
I said clearly you're not Egyptian enough.
No,
I don't get it.
I don't want to. I don't.
They put stuff in graves.
They had all of their treasures in them because they believed that you take it with you to the afterlife.
Yeah, but they're wrong. You don't take. There is heaven and there is hell, and you do not take any worldly possessions with you to the afterlife. It doesn't work.
You show up to the pearly gates, and it's like, I'm sorry, you don't have enough Funko Pops to pay the admittance fee.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. There's going to be a Funko Pop vinyl of God, Satan, and Jesus. I just know it.
I'd be very surprised if it didn't already.
If those don't already exist.
I know there's one for Jesus. I know there's one for Jesus. Hold up. You might hear me typing right now. Okay, I searched Satan Funko Pop because I've seen the Jesus one. There's the Cuphead Devil, and there's Mr. Satan or Hercule from Dragon Ball Z. There's Rob Zombie. You want the Rob Zombie one, Cruizer?
Only if they'll sign it.
I looked up Funko Pop God, and it's all Kratos.
Devil. There is El Diablo. I don't know if El Diablo is from something. The devil.
Oh, we got something different. Super Saiyan God Goku.
Yeah. Devil Flanders. So the one time in the Simpsons Halloween special when Ned Flanders turned out to be Satan or something like that.
Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
They also have the devil from the best show ever, the robot devil from Futurama.
Yeah, so they have that, and I know they have Jesus. I've seen it myself. I mean, take a look. Yeah, they got a bunch of different versions of Jesus. The frick.
Yeah. Not only do they have Jesus Christ, they also have Jesus from The Walking Dead.
God almighty.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get this back on track here.
Yeah, let's at least try to get it back on track.
Yep.
So, what is back on track? Oh, Emerald, you have yet to trigger me. You were supposed to trigger me.
Yes. So the thing is, if you start looking at waste of material, then how far back do you take it? Because these pop figures are made of vinyl. So obviously a more productive use of that would have been a vinyl record. But then you go into other kinds of things. Like, could you say that a wooden figurine is a waste of material because that could have been used for lumber for building a house? Could you say that the steel in the swords on your wall are a waste of material because they could have gone towards building a bridge?
God, with the amount of dust they're collecting, yeah, you might be right.
Specifically why I called it out.
Yeah.
And here's the one that'll trigger you. Could you say that the metal and wood used in the Jesus hanging on the cross on the wall in various Christian decorations, is that a waste of material?
Shoot, it could be. In the grand scheme of things, yes, it is, because, well, actually, hold on a second. I'm thinking out loud, which is a horrible habit that I have. But here's the duality of that. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it makes me sound like a freaking idiot, but regardless, here's the duality of that concept. In the grand scheme of things, yes, it didn't build a bridge. It didn't go to making better medical equipment. It didn't go to, whatever it could have gone to. However, maybe it serves a more esoteric purpose within the space that it occupies. For example, like having bare walls and plain architecture and drab scenery in general is actually really bad for your mental health, believe it or not. So if I'm gonna put something on the wall to cover up my wall and liven up my space to mentally stimulate me on a subconscious level, if it's something Christian related, which I have a lot of Christian decorations around my house, or well, not a lot, but they're scattered. I sort of wish I had more, actually.
We got to get you one of those Jesus Funko Pops.
I will shove it down your throat. But anyway, yeah, we will not have that blasphemy in this good Christian dojo. But anyway, so
I'm gonna sneak into your house one of these days and see how long it takes you to find it.
Oh,
Knowing how it went with the Celestia sheets, not very long.
You underestimate my autism. I will notice it right away. I will probably wake up in the middle of the night. Something is wrong here. There's blasphemy in my house. I'm gonna get my actual crucifix. I'm gonna get my actual crucifix off the wall. Walk around, going, "Where is the evil spirit?" There it is. It's the Jesus Funko Pop. Be gone, Satan! And then it's gonna freaking. I'm going to throw it out my window. It's going to crash through your window and just bean you right in the head. And you're going to have a Jesus Funko Pop shaped you're going to have a Jesus Funko Pop shaped bruise on your skull for the rest of the week. That's how that's going to go down.
Okay,
Plot twist. I replaced your Jesus on the cross on the wall with the Funko Pop and a set of popsicle sticks.
It's like he wants me to hurt him, guys. Why is he like this? To finish my point here, if I'm going to put things on my wall like that, it might as well be something that generates a positive vibe. It reminds me and helps me recenter my spirituality so that I can function better and be stronger for other people in my life. So, is it a waste? In the grand scheme, doesn't, the materials maybe could have gone to something better, but they didn't. So now they're serving a different purpose.
Well,
so how do we, Cruiser, what do you think about all that?
Okay, personally, I really don't care about a quote waste of materials, because honestly, when you step away from the internet and see how good the human race is at making this stuff, we're perfectly fine. Okay, you're allowed to have, those blades if you want. You're allowed to have some vinyl figure hanging on the wall, because human beings are great at producing it. Okay, it's one of the reasons why I don't care that much about the environment. Okay, the human race is fine. Okay, trust me. And besides, you don't want Mother Nature being pissed off and angry and sending tsunamis at you. I don't want her getting stronger. Seriously, we live down here in Florida. We have enough hurricanes. No, I do not want that bitch getting stronger. Okay?
She is getting stronger. It's our fault.
No, because you don't get stronger as you die.
Actually, I believe...
This is an entirely different philosophical debate we are having now.
But the point is that I don't find it to be a waste of material, because human beings are great at making more of it. I mean, every time we cut one tree down to make paper, we order 2 new trees to be planted.
Yeah, it's actually insane. You guys remember the Team Trees thing that Mr. Beast did, where they wanted to plant 10 million trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how many trees paper farms plant in a week.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so as far as waste of materials, chill out. The human race is good at this.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of my point. I was playing devil's advocate to my own point that we have enough of certain materials, we can afford to be, quote, wasteful. And even Brony brought up a point that I wasn't even thinking of at the time. Yeah, decorating a space is better for mental health. If these help somebody with that, obviously not to the level where you're decorating 2 entire walls with a thing, that's called an obsession. But if you have a shelf and you really like Avatar and you really like the Funko style, yeah, it'll help liven up the space. It'll make you more motivated. You can look over and say, yeah, I like those. That makes me happy.
Alrighty then. Racer, I haven't heard from you in a while. What do you think of all this?
Yeah, I mean, we have to make the stream last an hour and a half somehow. With Cruiser's point.
Yeah.
Again, you can't debate subjectivity or whatever that's called. If you like something, well then, yeah, you like something. You can't just debate that. What I'm saying is that having things which are objectively, they have less of a point, or they look worse, well then, they're just objectively worse.
Yeah, when it comes to Funko Pops, we definitely can have the wasted material discussion here, because that plastic could have made a better figure to then, because if you have too many Funko Pops on your wall, you are degrading yourself mentally. That stuff is that. If we're talking about the effect that art has on your psyche, that stuff is enriched uranium. That stuff is like the demon core just sitting outside in your wall in plain view, just irradiating your brain and rotting it from the inside out and causing untold cancers.
Yeah, even in my case, having 3 Funko Pops, I can say that with 2 walls of them, like I've seen in pictures, those black eyes do stare into your soul. The 3 I have, one of them is like a Comic-Con Ruby Rose, so she has silver eyes, which undermines the whole thing. Second is a miniature Pickle Rick, and the third is a tiny bobblehead Deadpool. In both of the second one's cases, the black eyes kind of just add to it because of how small they are.
I've used Funko Pops once as a joke. Let me tell this story because it's kind of funny. In 2014, I was living in Tampa with the family that put on the convention, the Grand Brony Gala. and they liked to have weekly board game nights. So I think it was, Friday evenings. All of our friends would come over, and we'd break out a board game, and we'd just hang out and play, and it was a great time. There was one particular night, and like my memory is foggy on this night because I was really tired and it was getting late. It was like around 11 o'clock or something like that. But I do remember they wanted to play Betrayal on the House on the Hill or something like that. And the way that, instead of using the game pieces to represent ourselves, they had a huge salad bowl filled to the brim with like blind bag figures. And we would use those. And they were, just hundreds of, cute little ponies in the salad bowl, and we'd reach in, we'd pick out the character we wanted, and we would use that as our game piece. So for some reason there was a Pinkie Pie Funko Pop in this bowl, which obviously dwarfs the other blind bag figures, and I reached in being half awake and grabbed that and then just slammed it on the table. This is my piece. I'm going to use this. And then there was just Pinkie Pie sitting on the board game table for the rest of the night. And I thought it was hilarious at the time. I don't know if everyone else is listening to this story thinking it's hilarious, but I thought it was hilarious at the time. And that's the closest that a Funko Pop has ever come to being useful. Outside of maybe, like we've been saying in the chat, target practice.
Yeah, I just think it's worth asking, like, why, to Funko fans out there, if we do have some, I'd like to ask, why? What is it about these figures that you find so appealing? Because the criticisms about them are accurate. Yeah, they are cheap plastic, and not to mention, they all pretty much have the exact same face. Matter of fact, I even think there's some Japanese doll that Evan showed me once that has basically two blank eyes, or not just two big eyes. One is actually filled in, and you fill in the other one when you have achieved a goal. And it sounds like they could have been based off that. And Americans are suckers for Japanese pop culture. I don't know why. And just, I seriously, I'd like to know why. What is it about these that you find so charming? No ill will, just
I try not to harbor any ill will, but I know that there's some deep down in there. But yeah, from a psychological perspective, I am curious as well. Is it about, do we have anything else we want to say, or is it about time we get into audience participation?
If I had to, aside from just why, but also, do you as a fan think it's gotten out of hand? Do you as a fan think, okay, this should have stopped a long time ago? Or why did you make a Funko figure of this character? Because aside from like the food product ones, I've seen some others that are totally useless. Like there was another one for a short 1 season long series that aired on Fox. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a live action family, and the dad for some reason was animated, and he came from like this warrior tribe. I can't remember the name of it, but like I said, that thing got one Funko figure, and the show only lasted for 1 season. So now it's totally useless.
Oh, are you talking about Son of Zord?
That's it.
I can see the appeal of it, because I watched, anyone ever seen Oishi High School Battle by Smosh?
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
No.
Okay, so it was basically plot anime girl, her father gets disgraced and they have to move away from their space society, and they live on Earth now. But the gimmick of the show is that all the fantastical beings are in 2D cartoon style, but they're in a real-life high school with real-life people they're interacting with.
Oh, so it's their version of the Amazing World of Gumball.
Kinda, sorta. There was only the real people and the cartoon people. It wasn't like Gumball where you have a million different art styles on the screen at once.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, given that we've asked a bunch of questions to hypothetical Funko Pop fans that are not in the chat and not on the panel, I think it's about time we get into audience participation. And we might actually end the stream on time tonight. So, I didn't see a whole lot as I was reading through here. So
I have scrolled to the top and I'm looking through myself.
Yeah, so let me get the 3 that I did see while you guys are looking through the chat as well here. Paladin Pony T says, Brony, didn't you have things that you liked to collect as a kid? Not really. Here's the thing. My memory does not start fading in until I'm 12. I don't know why. It's entirely possible it was repression. It's entirely possible it was head trauma. It's entirely possible it was both. But my first memories are somewhere between 11 and 12 years old. My family was all right. We were middle class, but my parents raised me very well in that they did not spoil any of their kids. So we didn't really have spending money or allowance or things like that. We worked hard and did a lot of chores and got $5 or $10 at the end of the week for it. Other than that, it was just part of your expected duties as a member of the family that you helped out with all the things going around. So I wasn't able to really buy a whole lot as a kid, and by the time I can really remember things, I wasn't really interested in them anymore. I'll tell you this, I did like Transformers Armada, and I have a few of those, and I did like Transformers Beast Wars, and I got a few of those as gifts when I was younger, and I've got those laying around up north somewhere. Yeah, there's all that that's going on. And then once I started getting into things like photography and martial arts and having expensive hobbies, everything that you could sort of say that I collected wasn't really, I collected it for the purpose of being better at my craft, not for the purpose of, oh, I like this thing, so I'm going to go buy this thing. If that ramble makes any sort of sense. Let me see. JYoshi64, aka Just Call Me Jay, says, how the heck did we get from Funko Jesus to environmentalism? Welcome to Brony Debates. We go places here. We go places.
In all fairness, though, I mean, as Brony said, he did see a Funko Pop bundle of Jesus. Very unnecessary. There are things that they were talking about the environment with what it takes to build these things. It all goes into the production of making this product that people love and love to hate.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a method to the madness.
So let's see here. And then Jay also said, beware, doing something ironically is still doing it nonetheless and turns into doing it unironically. So don't.
There's no such thing as an ironic boner.
Exactly. They're definitely... First of all, get that trash out of here.
What trash?
Your girlfriend has a signed poster from Ninja Sex Party, dude. They're the ones with the song No Reason Boner.
Right. Well, Emerald was the one that said there's no such thing as an unironic boner, but like...
And you're the one who said, get that trash out of his head.
I said there's no such thing as an ironic boner, and you better be getting that reference because you're the one who showed me that video.
Yeah, that was another Absolute Unit video. That was the Tonkatsu Sinclair,
who's actually live right now.
Dang it! He's stealing my views. That's why we only got 10 people watching this show right now. Gosh freaking darn it. Okay, so we're gonna go raid that stream.
I did see some new faces in the chat.
Yeah, like, Brittany Popplewell was, tuned in for the first time last night, and I'm assuming she's back. Not a whole lot of dudes out there named Brittany, but we'll find out. So yeah, that's all I had for chat. Did you guys find anything interesting we should address?
No, not really. I just think this whole Funko thing just took on too big of a life of its own. I think it needs to stop. I mean, when you're doing Funko Pop vinyls of fast food mascots, you've hit the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. I guess we'll wrap it up there then. Racer,
hold on,
what
I've
did you?
got a few.
Okay, yeah. Tell me what you found then.
So, Paladin Pony T asked very early on when I was fighting with you at the beginning of the stream, asked how I became an alicorn. Sorry to say, the story isn't very interesting. I was basically one when I showed up. Most of my OC predates my interest in My Little Pony, so I already had wings and magic before I showed up, so it was just obvious.
Yeah, so Spencer did the opposite of good writing. What he did is he came up with a story when he was a kid, and then instead of like fixing it as he got older or adjusting it depending on what, or making new stories and characters based on what universe he was in, he just kept adding on to the same character.
Yeah, like I'm gonna
He's
write
like
a story
Goku,
eventually.
but somehow worse.
It's gonna make you really angry when I tell you I made a Super Saiyan level above blue.
Yeah, I know you did. Okay. Congratulations, you were on the internet. You were on the internet in 2002.
I did not touch the internet until about 2008. Thank you very little. Also, Trent Riode pointed, or Girode, good lord, I might be a tad dyslexic myself. Trent pointed out that apparently the world's largest McDonald's is somewhere in Orlando. I looked it up, it totally is, and I totally want to go to it now.
Is it the one on International Drive?
Nope, it says it's on Sand Lake Road.
That's at the corner of Sand Lake and International. I know exactly where that is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not anything special. It's just three stories
the thing is,
tall.
I also grew up near a super huge McDonald's, so I want to see this thing for comparison.
Okay, I wonder if they'll let you in the play place. That'd be hilarious.
I mean, I don't imagine they wouldn't let you in just to look around. I know they're not going to let you inside.
Play place? They have a Chuck E. Cheese arcade in there.
Do they?
What?
Yes, it's upstairs.
You know something?
Really
I would actually like to do a video one day of just me, my big fat self, trying to crawl through a McDonald's place obstacle course. I'd probably look like frickin' Inosuke from the entertainment district arc of Demon Slayer. If nobody knows what I'm talking about, there's this character who wears a boar head, and he's just insane. And he's like, oh, I've got to fit in this very tiny hole, but I'm too big. However, I can dislocate all of my joints and slither through this hole like a snake. And then he proceeds to do so, and it's this dude with a boar head, just evil laughing as he slithers. It's hard to go watch Demon Slayer if you haven't. Now, but I imagine that's what it would look like if I was trying to crawl through a freaking McDonald's play place, but it would make for hilarious content. There's a Hannibal Lecter Funko Pop. Yeah, that's exactly what we need in this world.
Well, I know one very specifically that's very fitting. There is a They Live Funko Pop with like the blue and pink faced alien. My friend, the one who came down to visit me at the beginning of April, he has one of those sitting on a tube TV next to a mask from the movie because he likes the movie.
Alrighty then.
I should post a picture of this because it doesn't do the beat eye thing.
I've seen what you're talking about. Yeah, those are interesting. They got a Patrick Bateman Funko Pop.
Does he have the axe? Is he killing people while he's doing that?
Yeah, and he's wearing the clear, raincoat. All right. So what else did you have there, Emerald?
So this wasn't part of the debate proper because this almost certainly is going to have a either way more positive or way less negative reaction than Funko Pops. But what does everyone here think of Skylanders?
Skylanders. That was a game though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it lasted like 2 years and then like died.
Yeah, if they didn't run it into the ground, it would have had a longer shelf life.
Well, the thing is, Skylanders itself didn't really run it into the ground. It was all of the other Toys to Life series that popped up and just completely oversaturated the market.
No, they ran it into the ground. It's Activision.
Well, they built on it and iterated every time, and I mean, other than, I think, one miss, it was pretty good. Because, like, the first game, yeah, you got the figures. Second game, oh, now the figures have special things, and some of them are big. Third one, you could swap them around. That's freaking awesome. Fourth one, now you can catch the villains, and they talk to you through the portal. Fifth one sucked, they added cars. And then sixth one, make your own Skylanders.
I think if maybe the game was a bit more challenging, then perhaps they would have stuck around. Because the game
people bought it. It's because people bought it for like the novelty of, oh look, you can have this figure and you can put it into the game, and no matter how much you can innovate on that, like how people try to do 3D gaming, no matter how well you can do it, or just 3D stuff in general, no matter how well you can do it, eventually the novelty just wears off. Even if there wasn't 20 other Toys to Life games that did the same thing, it would have died anyway because the game existed because of the novelty. No matter how much you improve on that, people only buy it for the novelty.
Yeah. I can't even argue with that. I only really have a bin full of the things because I want to play it again at some point.
Oh, I have like one that I got 6 years ago. It was like this dragon one, and I ripped the wings off, and I lost it. I don't know where it is.
I had the starter pack. I had a few of the characters, but when I saw that they were starting to just mass produce these things and just oversaturate the market, I immediately sold mine because I knew what they were doing. These things were not going to be around for very long.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Also, we were
brought it up so I could promo Heather's stream, Chaos Crochet on Princess Heather B. Blossom's channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to drag my entire Skylanders collection into her office.
Oh, jeez. All right. Is there anything else, or should we wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
I was gonna say you were talking about like your childhood. I remember when I was like 5. This is like one of the first for the first time I ever remember watching My Little Pony, and I remember watching the season 2 starter, and I really liked Discord. I was like 5. I can barely remember anything from there. I think I watched it on TV. I was 5 with my brother. It was really good. Other than that, not much. Yeah, you can wrap it up now.
Okay, so Racer, how'd you like the conversation?
It was really good. Like, maybe it would have been better if we had someone who was like really pro Funko Pop. I thought it was a little circle jerky, but I think other people had enough good points to make it a good debate.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could revisit this topic with an actual Funko supporter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's any Funko Pop fans,
go ahead.
If there's any Funko Pop fans listening, we are calling you out. You're wrong. Come in on the show and change my mind.
We gotta post that meme on your Twitter. Funko Pops are bad. Change my mind.
That's right. I am the Steven Crowder of the Brony fandom.
You might want to change that too, because he and his wife are getting a divorce.
Okay, I am the. You know what? It would probably, in terms of personality, it would probably be more accurate to say I am the Matt Walsh of the Brony fandom.
There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. This might age really well.
That's the risk we take. You gotta own it.
Age very poorly.
Yeah, you've got to own it because we have no way of knowing.
Well, I knew you didn't.
I just didn't think it mattered, okay? But I was quoting the meme, okay? The man is
really
a meme.
Poorly in 0.5 seconds.
Okay? It's a good meme. Change my mind. You can't. You can't change my mind because it's objectively a good meme. All right, I'm ending this.
Copyright implications.
I don't give a frick about copyright. Alrighty then. So we'd love to have you on the show if you want to join and bring us your own topics or suggest games for us to play. If you would like to do so, just get on the Patreon or Subscribe Star or Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month. We're very grateful to all of the $10 and up supporters. This big long list: Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministries, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, EmeraldSpencer, who's with us, Senko, DJ Skywalker, Rein-Kun, Pony Cordero, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden MacManx, EasyModeGamer, Kanto Acrylic VA, Mr. Sonic 31, Ridge the Hedgehog, Alicia Lynette, Zeta Z, Sniper Nighter, Calbeck, StarChaser, Vulture Core, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. Check out all their links in the description. We will see you in a little less than an hour on Princess Heather Blossom's channel, hanging out and reading the chat while doing some crocheting. So yeah, we'll see you there. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.